everyone. Good afternoon. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome to our today's event. We are honored to have you with us, and we're also honored to have Mr. Sheharyar Ahmad, who is a distinguished PhD candidate at University of Campania, Italy. His basic specialization is in migraine research and with a deep focus on the science of mind. Sheharyar's work is contributing significantly to the field of neuroscience. His academic journey, supported by a fully funded scholarship, reflects his dedication and expertise, further exemplified by his active involvement with the International Headache Society. In addition to his remarkable academic pursuits, Sheharyar is also a passionate human rights advocate. His work with Humanity in Voices, where he supports marginalized communities in Pakistan, showcases his commitment to making a meaningful impact beyond the academic sphere. We're truly privileged to have him share his insights with us today. Thank you so very much, Sheharyar, for joining us today. And now over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the invitation, Ms. Rabia, and the detailed introduction. And I would like to welcome all of you. And without any further delay, I would love to share my presentation with you. Okay. So today I'm going to guide you through the journey of pursuing a PhD. Just 1.5 years ago, I was in the audience like you, and now I have the opportunity to speak here, and I'm very excited to share my experience. So as you can see from the table of contents, firstly, we will be discussing some basics about how to look for a funded PhD. And fortunately, most of the PhD in Europe are funded and they come with scholarships. So it's a very huge advantage. And then we will look at two main type of PhD opening, that is individual hiring and university calls. I have put together a list of resources that I'm going to share with you guys that help you to identify where to look for these opportunities. And we will even explore a few live opening together regarding individual hiring, so you can get familiar with the process and everything. After that, we will go over the application process, including the required documents, and I will share some strategies to help you excel in the competitive selection process. I'll try my best. And we will talk about documents evaluation and oral examination, both with a total of 100 marks. Okay, once we have covered how to secure admission, we will discuss documentation and visa process, and I'll share some useful tips, FAQs, and in the end, we will have a chance to chat and discuss if you guys have any question. So coming to the first heading of our webinar, looking for a PhD. Basically, PhD calls, as I mentioned earlier, we are talking about two types of PhD here. So let's start with individual hiring. Applying for this position is relatively straightforward, and these openings typically arise when a lab has a new project, a professor receive a grant, or they need to expand their team, or they just want someone with new skills and new experience on board. The nature of individual call is more personalized, as they are looking for the best fit for their project and team. So when you're applying for this opportunity, you will usually need to send your CV, SOP, a research proposal, proof of English proficiency that could include IELTS or whatever is required at that time. I have shared a list of resources with Ms. Rabia, and they're gonna email you after this webinar. But now in the real time, I would love to show you how we can do it. So for example, I have prepared this list of 40 websites that are offering individual and group PhDs. So if you look at just explore it together. If we can see that according to this website, they currently have 4,429 PhD projects. If we be very specific, I'm more interested in psychology. So let's explore this one. So according to this website, they have 290 psychology PhD projects opening right now. And if we talk about the first one, this is PhD scholarship in family caregiving. It is in University College Dublin. This is an example of individual project or individual hiring. Now you can see that the deadline of this project is 7th of November, 9th of September. So I was talking about this list that Ms. Rabia is going to send you after this webinar. I have gathered 40 websites that can help you to find your PhD. So I'm just exploring the first one with you guys first. Now you can see my webpage, right? If we talk about this website, they are currently offering 4,429 PhD projects. And we will explore psychology because I'm more interested in that. So in psychology, they are offering 290 PhD projects. If we explore the first one, the deadline is 9th of September, and it is a individual project. They are hiring one person, but they are inviting students from all over the world. If we further look into it, people with psychology background, sociology, social work, nursing, health, medicine, health psychology, higher education can apply for this program. This is a 4-year PhD, and it's a full-time PhD position, and they are offering 22,000 euro stipend per year, which is enough. And their full student fee coverage, it means that you don't have to pay anything, you don't have to pay any fee. And they also have a small research budget. We will talk about it later, what is a research budget. And this scholarship, in this scholarship, they want someone to write, like send them the proposal in one of these topics. And as you can see, they are more interested in qualitative method, mixed method. We all are very much familiar with that. And you have to just send an email to this supervisor, just an email that includes your personal statement, CV, and 2 pages research proposal. That's it. There are only 3 things that you have to send to this supervisor before 9th of September to get a chance to be evaluated by the person. Meanwhile, let's look at another website because the main focus of or this webinar is university calls, but I would really like to share some experience with individual calls too. Now, this is another website. If we type here psychology. Okay. So in this website, you can see they have 475 current opening of PhD. And you can see they have community psychology, educational psychology, cognition, clinical research, psycholinguistics, psychodynamics. Like they have variety of openings right now. So this is just a way that I wanted to share with you guys to tell you that this is how you can, if you're interested in individualized program, individualized scholarship, individualized PhD, you can do it like this. Now we're going to talk about university calls, which is the main agenda of our this webinar. These are the 2 links that I want you guys to save. These are Facebook group link. This include in the document that I'm going to share with Ms. Rabia, and you can have that. So, okay, I myself get secure my PhD through this group, PSL, Pakistan Scholarship League. They work really hard and post a ton of scholarship every week. Now we have summer vacations here as we have summer holidays in August. But from next month, you are going to see that a lot of universities are going to offer 100 of scholarship and single call. For example, just for example, uh, I shared this call of University of Verona, and you can see that they are offering 121 scholarships across various disciplines only in one call. If we talk about psychology and related field, they are offering 13 seats. And they also cover many other areas like surgical science, computer science, biotech, art, literature, and more. So just imagine this is just one call of one university and they're offering 121 scholarships. And in some cases, most of the university issue multiple calls in a year. Okay, now we will talk about why it's more beneficial to have a PhD abroad than or on in our own country. The first thing is duration. If they tell you that your PhD is going to end in 3 years, they're going to make sure that it ends in 3 years. If you talk about other countries, there are a few countries that can drag the PhD up to 7 years, so it's better. And you will get a very fair stipend with research fund to support your conferences, publication, and other research. Stipend is a different thing, and research fund is a different thing. Stipend is what they give you to spend your time here to, you know, for your living expenses and other things. Research fund, you all have different kind of research funds that you can use to go to the conferences, make publication, and other research activities. Also, university have encouraged international collaboration beside offering programs like Erasmus. You can still, even in PhD, you can apply for Erasmus and other international mobilities. So, which allow you to spend up to 1 year in any other country to work with the related labs. Some university offer mobility programs to you to gain experience and build connection worldwide. Okay, at this moment, if you have decided to apply to a university, you will need to go through a competition that's graded out of 100 most of the times. This process is very fair as the guidelines and the breakdown of the process is usually transparent. Most PhD competitions are divided into documents evaluation and oral exams. The documents you submit with your application, such as your degrees, your research proposal, usually count up to 40 to 50% of your total score. So as you can see, I just give you an example of this call, and they have divided 100 marks for qualification, 40-point maximum that includes your research project, and for interview, they are the maximum points are 60. So now further, if we talk about further division of the marks. Okay, if we talk about the first criteria, they're gonna measure your thesis, that is your master thesis and bachelor thesis, and the maximum point for your thesis, they are gonna give you out of 6 points. And then you have your degree marks that cover 10 points. They're gonna measure all the marks that you're getting from your high school to your master's or MPhil. After that, if you have a publication, it's a good thing. You can get up to 8 points. That is a lot, but if you don't have it, just don't worry, because it's just a 1 point of it. Next, they are offering 2 points if you have any specialized diploma in the field of research or what in the domain where you want to do PhD. Also, research collaboration, if you have done any Erasmus period abroad or any how is USU grad, or you have obtained any national or international scientific society award, you will get maximum 2 points. And in other documents, if you have, this is the most simplest and trickiest part, and these points are almost free to get. If you have participated in any kind of research activities during your master's or bachelor's, you can just ask for your lecturer or your professor to give you a letter that specify that, for example, this person has attended this conference and presented this work. They're gonna give you straight 2 points for that. And after that, your research project that has 10 marks. Okay. So the other part of the competition is oral examination, and it covers about 50 to 60% of total marks. They are gonna measure your language skills, and they're gonna ask you questions and answer regarding your uh, previous studies, previous research, publication, and of course, for the research proposal too. We're gonna talk about it later. Now, let's get back to the application submission. Okay, so the first thing that you're gonna take care of is the deadline. Uh, it doesn't matter how talented you are, if you fail to successfully submit your application with all the attachments that are required, they're gonna just discard your application. And also for the ID, it is important to upload your valid passport as it is typically required as a part of your application. And also, there is a suggestion just to take your time when you are submitting the application. Read instruction multiple time. Don't forget to sign your form and attach everything correctly. If you're confused, consult the manual. Most of the time, university give manual how to fill up the application form. If you don't have any manual, just go and look for instructional videos or blogs online. And almost all the PhD calls require proposal. Just remember one thing, that AI like ChatGPT and other stuff can be a great help, but you need to be very intelligent to use that tool. You have to use it wisely. Sometimes university also asks SOP or motivation letter. And for the CV is must, and you must update it and make it on the format of Europass, because sooner or later they're gonna need it. And this is a breakdown of what you are gonna get after you submitted your application. After some time, they're gonna give you a list, and that will tell you if you are admitted or you are not admitted for an oral exam. Okay, for example, if you are even admitted, in this exam, the the cutoff score was 20 out of 40, yeah. So even if you are admitted with a very low score, you still have a very fair chance of winning a scholarship. We'll talk about it later, that how. Okay, once you're admitted for an oral exam, there are some guidelines. First of all, they're not gonna ask you anything that you don't know. If you have added theory of relativity in your proposal, they're not going to ask you anything else. They are just going to evaluate your documents, your application, and your proposal, and they're going to ask you the same questions that are the questions from your previous evaluation, previous publication, thesis, from your education, or most of the time they just ask you question from your research proposal. So there are a few tips to how to prepare for an exam. First of all, okay, for your oral exam, you have to speak very clear and slowly due to the language barrier, especially if you are applying for non-English speaking countries and European countries, because they prefer and they have learned their whole life their own languages. But fortunately and good for us that English is the language of science, so they have to speak it. But in order for them to understand you, you have to say things clearly and slowly. And you can just give one line answer. Like if they're asking you a question, you should not give one liner answer, because they are evaluating your knowledge, your critical thinking, and they are also evaluating that if you can discuss things in English language and you have deeper knowledge of the subject, of the thing that you are presenting or proposing. Okay, another thing, you should prepare 2 to 3 PowerPoint slides, but don't share it. In some cases, they can ask you to share your PowerPoint slide, but don't share it if they don't ask you to do that, because it's an oral exam. And you're going to be asked questions from a panel of judges, and it's gonna be like a lot of people in the video call. So you should prepare it for in that sense. And for the dress, it's better to dress formal or semi-formal, because it show your effort that you are putting to get into the interview, and be punctual. And it's better if you have any other extra internet device. Okay, once you have given your oral exam, this is results of the interview. They're gonna give you the results like that. If they are in this result, they are looking at your research proposal, depth of knowledge, your ability to think critically, your ability to engage in a in-depth scientific discussion, and also your language. So, okay, at this stage, if you have your result marks out of 60, you can just calculate your ranking and see how many seats are available. Then you will get to know before the final results that either you are in or out. Also, if you don't make on the ranking, don't lose hope and wait, because not everyone who rank with will actually enroll, which open up spot for those with lower score. For example, in this call, in this result, this person who has the highest score, she didn't enroll in it, and also this person didn't enroll. So it gives the opportunity to this person to enroll later. So if you still have nothing, I tell you just wait and hope that some people don't enroll in the university, and then they will email you that you can enroll now. And still, if you have nothing, you can just wait for an additional call, because sometimes it happened that after the admission, university usually open an additional call. People don't know about it because no one is bothering that university anymore. So it's important to keep a very close eye on that thing. Okay, once you have secured the admission, it's time to do some attestations, and I'm going to talk about visa process. So these are the documents that you are going to need. These are the basic documents. Other than these documents, you can look at the university, at the embassy. For example, if you're coming to Italy, if you're coming to Germany, there are going to be some differences in documentation. They're going to require some different things, but these include your bachelor's and master degrees and final transcripts, your higher secondary school and secondary schools diploma and certificates and results card. So you're gonna need to attest them. There is another thing that PhD calls don't ask for IELTS exam, but your because they're gonna evaluate your English speaking skills in the interview, but embassy will not process your application without an English proficiency certificate. So this certificate you can ask your university. You can just write an email or go to the university and ask the admin that I need this certificate, and they will issue you. Also, there is another thing that if you really have clear goals and you really know that you want to go for a PhD abroad and you started manifesting it already, it's better to get at least these three things ready, even if you're not applying anywhere. If you didn't apply anywhere, English proficiency test, letter from your professor, we talk about this letter. You can just get a general letter, not addressing the university, so you can use it in multiple time and get your degree attested, because university professor and institute could be a hassle, and you all know how. So there are some FAQs that I would like to share with you guys. So the first question is, can I apply for a PhD position, for example, in migraine research, if I have a degree in biotechnology? Yes, you can do that. Most of the university offer PhD to people with diverse background, because they really want to build a very unique and diverse research group. For example, I have a colleague who has done his master's in artificial intelligence, and he is in psychology, and but he's like merged both fields, and he's doing AI. Like he's trying to see that how can AI help to detect human emotions. So now you can see that he involves AI and human emotion, that is pure psychology. Do I need to take IELTS exam to apply for a PhD? No, you don't need that, especially if you are applying for university calls, but individual calls have different criteria. So they might ask you, even if you don't have it, you can just tell them in individual calls, because you are talking to a professor, a supervisor. You can just tell them that I don't have it at this point, but I have English proficiency certificate, just in case if I get a chance to get into this PhD, I'll present you the IELTS exam results. So next, which type of PhD call offer a higher chance of selection? A specific project-based or lab or professor call, the first one that we refer to as individual calls, or general university call. In my experience, university calls have you have more chances, especially if you are from other countries that are not in Europe. You have more chances to get an admission, because you are not sending your documents to a single professor, and he is not going to evaluate things for you. You are more likely sending your documents and everything to a system. And when you are applying for PhD in university calls, choosing a professor and supervisor is the last step. Okay, do I need to get a part-time job while pursuing my PhD? Usually you don't need that, because it depends on the country and the area. They give you a fair amount that you need to survive. But student visas, especially for PhD, they allow you to work 20 hours a week. So if you want it, you can do it, but you don't need it. Is it better to prepare a proposal in advance or to wait for a PhD opening and then draft a proposal according to the given guidelines? Okay, in this regard, if you're really focused and you have a very keen interest in something and you want to do research just in that specific topic in specific domain, it's better to prepare it and fix it with time. But if you don't have a very keen interest or you are a bit lost and you are more open, you can wait for the guidelines. For example, okay, for example, in this research, now you can see in this call, they just wanted a project of 700 words. That's it. So it's 700 words is like 1.5 or 2 pages on Word file. It's nothing. And they just tell you they're going to count project title, the theory and model, objective methodology, results, possible risk strategies, uh, degree of organizational feasibility, and if you're involving any, like they just very specifically clear everything that they want, and it's just 700 words. Do I need to search for a supervisor before applying for a PhD? Not in the university calls. You don't need that. And I talk about the both kind of calls, and you can see that in the first type of call, professor is itself is advertising the call. And in second one, you don't need it. You don't need to search for a supervisor, especially in Europe. I have some idea that when you're applying in Australia, you might need that. Okay, now I'm going to take the questions. What do you mean?
Thank you, Sheharyar. Yeah, we've got a couple of questions in the chat box.
Okay.
If you would like to start with those.
Okay. It's Miss Afrashat.
Yes.
What do you mean by research proposal? The research that we are going to, yes. Yeah, I tell you, I give answer to this question that if you are not prepared yet, because we don't have a very specific or keen interest, right? So we can wait for a call, and like this call just need a 700 word proposal. You can make it in, if of course, I'm sure that everyone who's here has done masters and MPhil, they know how to make a proposal. So 700 word proposal is nothing, you can make it. We can get English proficiency certificate from our university. Can that be enough if there is no IELTS? Yeah. So university calls, especially if you are in PhD, you have studied your 18 year of your life in English. If you're applying for PhD, you are going to conduct research rather than getting into courses and giving exams and stuff like that. So they don't really need IELTS because they understand that this person has done higher education already, and he can speak English, and they're going to access you just in interviews. But if you're talking about some specific individual calls, they might ask you because it totally depends on the professor or the supervisor who is advertising the call, but not in the case of university calls. Okay, last research proposal is hypothetical. Yes. It's not compulsory that you are going to work on that research proposal. They are just going to assess that if this person really know how to do research, because okay. They are going to see if this person know how to make a research proposal. First, they will evaluate, give you marks out of 10. If we look here, see, research project. They're gonna assess your proposal out of 10, and then they're gonna give you 30 marks. These 30 marks are for the research proposal. They're gonna ask you different questions. They are going to evaluate if this person, they're gonna get to know that this person know how to do research, because when you're applying for a PhD, they expect from you that you know how to do it, because they're just gonna guide you whenever you need it.
Okay, thank you, Sheharyar. I think you very comprehensively answered the questions that were
There are
mentioned.
two
I think you
others.
haven't Yeah, two more questions. I'm just going to read the questions out because this video is going to go on YouTube as well. So
All
just
right.
so that the audience there also knows. So what about the letter of recommendations? What's your take on that? Who should it be probably by the research supervisor, or it can be your employer? How can you guide on that?
Okay, you really don't want a letter of recommendation most of the time when you're applying for PhD in Europe. But here I talk about other documents that include if you have done any research activity with your professor, with your lecturer, you can just ask them to write it on a university letterhead and sign it and stamp it that this person has been involved in these kind of conferences, has done data collection with me, has done this project with me. That's it. You don't need recommendations.
All right. Maybe, if they have any other additional questions, they can just write that in the chat box. I hope that somewhat answers the question that the uh, participant was having. Another question is that there are certain universities that have already provided the research topic area of research proposal. Can you elaborate on that?
Uh, yeah, of course. The first link that I opened, if I can open that again, they give you the topics. These are the topics. You have to make a research proposal. They are going to give you research topic and area, and then they are going to evaluate you that if you can make a good proposal on that, you have skills, you have knowledge, how to do things. And they very specifically tell you that you can employ qualitative method or mixed methodology or
Right.
PPI research method.
Yeah, Sharyar, sorry to cut you, but we can just see your slide right now. Is it on the research collaboration? Like, you probably the mouse is scrolling on the research collaboration thing. Have you opened any other link that,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
if you could open that again.
Sorry.
Yeah,
So
no
after
worries. Go
talking
ahead.
about this, we already have been through.
Yeah.
These are the areas, these are the topics that they tell you. You're going to make a research proposal of any of these. You can employ qualitative method, mixed methodology, PPI research methodology, and then they're going to assess you that, okay, this person has a deeper knowledge of these variables. He know how to conduct a research. They will invite you for an interview and assess you like that.
Thank you so very much. I hope that answers the question. Another question is, what's the CV format one should follow?
Yeah, Europass. I
Yeah.
will send you a link.
Okay.
You can email them later.
Amazing. That would be really, really helpful for them. Yes, one suggestion that please share all the resources with
Yeah,
the
definitely.
participants. Please do. That would really, really help them. Also, another question, is it compulsory to have a prior work experience for PhD in Europe?
No, no, you don't need any work experience.
Like you don't get any points
I
for that.
just I just graduated in 2022 and in December I was enrolled in PhD.
Okay, that's great. That's great. And how much? Okay, so is there any financial security that you have to show in order to enroll?
No.
There's this specific question, how much money or statement is required for the study visa? Even not even for the visa purposes.
No, actually,
Ah,
you are hired. They are hiring you. They're gonna give you money.
okay.
So you're
Oh,
going for a job there.
yeah.
And in most cases, they even send you a settlement fund up to 5,000 euros just to settle it, like just to get the air tickets and everything.
That's impressive. That's
Yep.
that's that's really a good thing. Also,
So,
uh, So, definitely, there's a lot of appreciation that we have in the chat box that you're getting people excited and motivated to actually go and apply for their PhD. If I wasn't here, settled here, I would have definitely applied for this program. But yes, definitely. One more question: do you recommend finding a university or a call or going for scholarship programs like Erasmus? What would you recommend?
these are 40 links if you have to find individual scholarships. And then I give you the link of these two Facebook groups. They are incredible. I found my PhD from this group. And when it comes to university call, rely on this group. You don't have to go anywhere, just subscribe and turn on the notification. After this month, there are going to be hundreds of opening in all over the Europe. So just do it. That's it. You don't have to go anywhere. And for Erasmus, Erasmus is they offer you, like, for example, every year you can apply for Erasmus and you have to find a lab, and then definitely they're going to give you more scholarship because you win an Erasmus too if you're going somewhere.
Amazing. I think that really, clearly answers the question. Again, a lot of appreciation for you that, the insights that you've shared with the participants, they have been really, really helpful. And they've got more clarity now in terms of the process, how to go about it. And hopefully we're going to see many more, candidates applying through the guidance that you've given us. Okay, could you also please clarify what needs to be in the statement of purpose?
Okay, so normally no one asks you for SOP.
Okay.
But again, I would recommend just apply for university calls. Maybe the process is a little bit lengthier, a bit, tiring, but there are more chances because you're not giving your CV or SOP to a person. You are applying in a university. So in SOP, it depends. It vary from the requirement that what they want. You can read the call thoroughly and you will find out what do they need in SOP.
Is there any field that, in psychology that you recommend?
Actually, if, if I talk about my field, science of mind, and there are so many people who are working on different projects. So we are not specifically like when we are doing masters, we go to clinical counseling. We in Europe, in Western countries, they don't hire it like that. You can, if your proposal is good, for example, when I presented my proposal, um, my professor told me to work on the same project for your PhD. So it depends uh, on you, on the sorry, I'm sorry, which field of psychology? Yeah. So you don't really need a field. Do whatever is of your interest. Just make a very good proposal. Just give them a very good impression that you know. Just do what you know how to do. You can do it really good. You are good at.
True. All right, Sharia, just one more question, and that is that, in Europe, they say in certain countries you face a lot of, like you've mentioned already, that, being learning their language is not an essential requirement. But of course, if you be in a country for like years, of course you learn a few bits and pieces
Yeah.
in terms of the language that they speak. So is it like difficult in terms of communicating, finding accommodation, for example, or and also another question connected to this question is that in terms of accommodation, you since you have to arrange for everything by yourself, is the stipend enough? Or do you have to, is it enough for you to actually afford a good accommodation, or do you have to really work for those 20 hours and then be able to have a good uh, living standard?
Actually, if we talk about stipend, it's good enough. Like they give you a very good that it depends on the area and the country where you're living. They will just see what is the cost of living, what is monthly expenses, and they're gonna give you stipend on the basis of that thing. So they already know that you're coming here, you have to live here, and they're gonna make sure that you get enough so you can just focus on the PhD.
All right.
Like, I have never seen anyone who is doing PhD and doing work too. No one is doing any part-time work.
Nobody wants to, I
Yeah,
think.
because you are getting more money this way rather than if you talk about, especially for foreigners,
Yeah.
sometimes if your country don't have that minimum wage,
Yeah.
they give you less money. So no one want to work because you're already getting enough.
Exactly, exactly. But in UK, the circumstances are different. You have to, no matter what. Uh, the degrees are expensive. Secondly, the stipends that they offer, they're really, really not good enough for you to actually afford a very good living standard. So Sometimes, you have to work in any case.
And the good
Uh,
thing is that they are also giving you research grants. With stipend, you just have to live. You just have to spend that money on yourself. If you have a research grant, for example, I just went to Germany last month in International Headache Society. There was an event. They just pay me everything from flights to hotel to even what you eat there. You just have to give them the receipt and the details, and they will just pay you everything.
yeah. One more question, Sharia, that, in terms of communicating locally, for example, when you're working in the lab and when you're communicating with them professionally, are all the people there proficient in English? How do you communicate with them? What if they don't know English? What's the way to actually
No,
deal?
actually, everyone who is doing PhD, even in Europe, you can't do it in your language. As I talk about this, that English is the language of science, so it's a basic criteria. If you can't speak English, you can't really get into the PhD. So it's a good thing for us, especially. And if
Of
you
course.
talk about like a local communication, definitely you have to go outside, you have to communicate with everyone. Where I live, people are really helpful, and you can always use this application, Google Translation, and they are always doing that too, because they are so immune to us now that whenever they see, oh, a foreigner face, they will just um,
At their
open
application.
the Google Translator and
Yes,
say it and just communicate it.
of course, yes. Okay, so what does a typical day doing PhD look like? How many hours you're on the campus?
Okay, it depends on your field. For example, if you have a lab, like lab, for example, people who are working in biology lab, biotech, and other labs that require you to be present in the lab. So for them, the things are really but the schedule is really packed. But for us, like I'm doing research on a individual project, and most of my methodology is mixed method, so I don't really go to lab. I have this option that I can work from anywhere. So it depends on the lab. If you have to be very careful with what you want. For example, if you talk about neuropsychology, that is pure neurology lab, you have to be present 5 days a week for 5 to 6 hours. But my lab is more of psychometrics, and so I don't really have to go there. And I can work from home. And if I go there, I can just go for 2 to 3 hours. That's enough for a day to work on a PhD project.
All right. And Sharyar, okay, so I think Sharyar has already mentioned that Euro CV format is the one, like in Word or proper design. So which CV format is better, simple, like in Word, or proper designed format, like on Canva app? What would you recommend for this one?
No, it's in Europe, it's better if you get Europass.
Europass.
Let
Okay.
me
So
send you the
yeah,
link right now.
yeah, amazing. That would really, really help. Yeah, thank you.
You can just go there and get your
All right.
yeah.
And what are your future prospects then? Once you get the PhD there, do they give you a work visa after, or do you have to return immediately? What is the uh
Oh.
yeah.
So for now, for example, I have my PhD. I have to finish my PhD in 3 years.
Yeah.
And from my stipend, they get a smaller amount deducted in the terms of taxes and stuff. And in the fourth year, I will find a job search visa. I can stay here for 1 year without a job, and they're going to pay me for the fourth year too. It's not going to be the exact amount of stipend that I'm getting now. They're going to taper off every month, but they will pay me for the fourth year too. And they will give me the opportunity, the visa to find a job anywhere in the Europe. Or you can find it anywhere in the world. But you have this 1 year security that they're not going to kick you out if you don't have a job. They're going to make you stay here for 1 year at least, and they will pay you even you're doing nothing in that.
Well, I think that's a huge security for a
Yeah,
student. Immediately you don't get a job. You have to spend at least
definitely.
6 months to get a good job that you would say that, this is something that I was looking for. Amazing. That's great. Okay, one question that I have sometimes, people who have family, they're also looking for PhD opportunities. So, can anyone apply? Are there any conditions attached to these particular scholarships? What's your take on that?
Actually, there are two people that are my colleagues. They recently moved their whole families here. They were
Okay.
married with kids.
Okay.
and they are living there here. So there is a possibility and option that you can bring your family with you.
Okay.
After you come here, you can just sponsor them and they can live with you, come here and live with you.
And do they get the dependent rights as well?
Yeah.
The ones that you have. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Because in terms of then education and everything, somebody
Like,
with kids
for
would
example, your spouse can get a right to work here.
okay. Yeah.
So I think,
Yeah, so getting full dependent rights, I think,
yeah,
it's amazing. That's amazing. So that holds a lot of hope for a lot of students, I believe. And if anybody's having any other questions, we've had a quite an interactive session though. So if anybody's having any other further questions, you can just write that in the chat box, or even you can email it to us, and we can connect you with Sheharyar for any other further questions.
yeah.
Sheharyar has shared his email address here. All right, with this, I think we're happy to conclude. So, as we come to the closing of this session, I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to Sheharyar Ahmad for his enlightening presentation and valuable contributions to the field of psychology and neuroscience. Thank you so very much, Sheharyar, for sharing your expertise and for the important work that you continue to do. We're really looking forward to more sessions related to research, related to publications. And thank you so very much for your time. And thank you, everyone, for taking out some time on a Sunday. It's really difficult to take out some time. But I'm sure this productive and insightful session must have left you with a lot of knowledge and practical knowledge in terms of how exactly do you have to go about in terms of applying. And anybody who's a prospective PhD student would have really benefited from this particular session. So thank you so very much, Sheharyar, and looking forward to have more sessions organized with you. Thank you.
Thank you.